Niners fans, it's about that time. 5 o'clock on a Friday. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. How's everyone doing today on a Friday? Happy Friday, everyone. Also, I didn't go on last Sunday, but happy Father's Day, late Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I had a pretty good weekend last week. It was very hot last week, but I appreciate everyone coming through on a Friday. And shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. And of course, shout out to everyone watching on J in the Bay. I appreciate everyone coming through. And of course, this show is nothing. This show is nothing without the fans, without, of course, first, the 49er fans, the best fans in the NFL. Y'all already know. But of course, we are in the NFC West division, and I welcome all fans, not only in the NFC West, but also in the NFL to come through to rock with Jay in the Bay. Of course, I welcome all fans, as long as we keep it respectful. I got to keep it 100. Just keep it respectful. Keep it in between the lines, man. So that's all I have to say. Now, of course, let's get into these comments, because this show is nothing without the fans. Well, let me put up my first banner. Make sure, if you're not already, subscribe to Jay in the Bay YouTube, Jay in the Bay on IG, and also Jay in the Bay on Twitter. And Steezy A Smith is on his way. As soon as he gets here, it'll just be a few minutes. But first, let's say what's up to the people in the chat. All right. So first, it's Payo Time. What's good? What's good, Payo Time? How you doing, man? Payo Time says he is stoked for this. I am as well. You know, this is my first stream where I'll be collabing with another NFC West fan. So this is exciting for me. Get to hear the Seahawks fan perspective. So this is definitely something that's interesting to me. I'm excited for this. And I'll definitely be doing Rams and Cardinals fans in the near future as well. So make sure you guys be on the lookout for that. Corey Davis, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Corey. How you doing on a Friday? Let's see, 49er Faithful, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. How you guys doing? Let's see. Payo Time says, I'll be watching to make sure you give the Ramley love. That's funny, Payo. Yeah, you guys, any fan, of course, is always welcome. And, as long as we keep it respectful, keep it in between the lines on the gridiron, it's all good. It's all love. Let's see. Tommy says, yikes, Lambs and Seahawks fans, happy freaking Friday to me. like Payo Time says we are a dysfunctional NFC West family. So it's all good. Happy Friday to you too, Payo. Happy Friday. Let's see. Steven, a Tennessee Titans fan. What's good? How you doing today, Steven? Hope your Friday is going well. Sean T. Uber, what's good? How you doing today, man, on this Friday? Let's see, Redder 4. Yeah, I saw that, Redder. I was wondering. So Redder is referring to the offensive lineman, the guard. I think his name David DeCastro. He says that the Steelers released him. Yeah, I noticed that. And I saw that they signed Trey Turner, I guess, to replace him. So maybe it was a money issue or something like that. But yeah, it seems like you definitely don't agree with that you guys cut David DeCastro. So yeah, that's very unfortunate for you. Yeah, and I appreciate that. As Payo Time says, everyone hit that like. I appreciate you, Payo Time. Hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying. I appreciate that. Nicho TV, what's good? Nicho says going to be a good live stream. That's right. And looks like, let me just say what's up to a few more people. NFL Cast, what's good? How you doing? And Nicho, yeah, you could come back, no problem. You can come back and watch the stream, watch the recap. and Matt Navarro. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. But this show, of course, is for Steezy A. Smith. He's a Seattle Seahawks super fan. And it's interesting to me to hear the perspective of a Seahawks fan and how their season went, the regular season, the off season. And that's why I wanted to bring Steezy A. Smith on to the stream with me today. And let's bring Steezy A. Smith on. What's good, Steezy?
Hey, yo, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. It's good. It's good to connect with you, man. I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you coming through to the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel, man.
Yes,
and
sir.
How you doing on this Friday, man?
Man, it's beautiful out here in Seattle. Hold on, let me fix this a little bit. Yeah, another beautiful day. Real sunny out here. Blessed by the best. I mean, what more can I say, bro? But I'm feeling good. What about you? What about you, bro? How you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing excellent. I'm doing excellent on this Friday. It's beautiful weather out here in the Bay Area, and it's always good to talk some football. And I wanted to, obviously, you're a Seahawks fan, die hard. And first, I'm gonna put up your IG and your Twitter so my followers can subscribe to you and check out your content. So
Appreciate
below,
it.
Everyone sees, no problem. You got the IG there, the Twitter, and I wanted to talk about the Seahawks 2020 regular season. You guys started off. You guys were riding high. You guys started off 6-2 within your first 8 games, and then the last 8 games you went 4-4. So, what were your thoughts on the regular season and the outcome of that?
So, as far as the regular season goes, I mean, look, division title in the best division in all of football, 12-4. Well over 500, and so although the season as a whole it was very disappointing just because of how it ended in the playoffs. We're just talking about the regular season. And so with that being said, I think the regular season was all right. I mean, obviously the first half of the season, like you said, 6-2. Russell Wilson was pretty much MVP until his collapse in the second half. The defense picked it up, and I know that facing a softer schedule, that definitely played a part. But the fact that Seattle was so bad defensively the first 7-8 games of the season, for them to be able to finish where they finished, I thought that that wasn't that bad. But the offense took major steps backward. That was disappointing in and of itself. And like you said, 4-4, Seattle could have captured a number 1 seed in the conference, but they had to settle for just a division crown, which, like I said, still has meaning. We're not talking about just any division of football. We're talking about the best division in all of football. So just once again, answer your question, I think the regular season, just that part of the season was a success for the most part. I graded, maybe a B-.
Okay. Cool. And I got to continue to say what's up to the people in the chat. Starscream sub 025. Thanks for tuning in. Payo Time is giving you some love. He's a Rams fan. I don't know if you know him, but he's an excellent YouTube content creator. Cool. And 49ers First Take. What's good with you? Steven, what's good? Thanks for coming through. And
what's up, everybody?
And the season, obviously the Seahawks season went a lot better than the Niners. We struggled mightily with injuries and things like that. And, when I heard about Russell Wilson and the drama, I can't lie, I was smiling from ear to ear like I am now. I was hoping, I was praying that, Russell Wilson would get traded out the division. Because ever since Russell Wilson was drafted, there's been that rivalry between the Seahawks and the Niners with Harbaugh, with Pete Carroll. They didn't like each other in college, at USC and Stanford. So I was like, man, my dreams could come true. Russell Wilson could get traded out the division. But unfortunately, that didn't come to fruition. And it seems like Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are happy. Is that true? Do you think they're happy?
I think for now, as it stands, yeah. Obviously a lot could happen, a lot could change in the next year or so. I think a lot of it is kind of contingent on Seattle finishing far in the playoffs and not just making the playoffs. We got to make it past the divisional round. And so, at least an NFC championship game appearance. Otherwise, I think that this is a situation to monitor heading into next offseason. But as it stands right now, I thought that Seattle did a phenomenal job of supplementing Russell Wilson this past offseason. A lot of people, especially people outside of Seattle, or if you're not a Seahawks fan, might look at it as another pedestrian offseason. But I think some of the guys that Seattle managed to add, I mean, I don't want to come off as a homer. Like, I feel like what I'm saying are just facts. Like Kerry Hyder Jr. from he had 8.5 sacks. Now I understand, you guys had injuries, and so he had opportunity, but 8.5 sacks is still 8.5 sacks. And so Seattle's pass rush, they looked phenomenal. They finished 7th in the NFL last year with 46 sacks, despite only having 12 through week 7. And so they were on pace to finish below or under 30, and they ended up finishing 7th. So the pass rush, they bolstered that. The wide receiver core, with Dwayne Eskridge, he's a speedster, and with Shane Waldron coming in from the Rams, he's going to run a lot of 3 wide. And so Eskridge, I think that, he's going to be great for the Seahawks. Gerald Everett, another great pickup. Offensive line, Gabe Jackson, drafted Stone Forsythe. Gabe Jackson, he might not be a big household name. His play might be on the decline, but I think that he's still a massive upgrade over Mikey Potty. And so Russell Wilson hopefully has another MVP-type season. Hopefully that amounts to Seattle finishing at least in the NFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That Seahawks defense last year was definitely. Yeah, I know you mentioned the sacks, especially in the last 8 games of the season. The defense definitely benefited from trading for Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals. I mean, that was an amazing trade that Schneider and Pete Carroll pulled off. It definitely paid off, and I see that you guys re-signed Carlos Dunlap, and then Kerry Hyder. I mean, come on, Kerry, he used to wear the red and gold, baby. Why you want to go to the Seahawks? but like you said, he balled out last year. He was our best edge rusher last year, no doubt. With Bosa was out, Solomon Thomas was out. Kerry Hyder had an excellent year, like you said, 8.5 sacks, and I wish him well. He got his money, and then you guys also signed our corner. Forgetting his name. Witherspoon. Keller Witherspoon. So you guys signed him as well. So you guys love to take former 49ers, clearly. But I want to ask you, what were your needs going into the 2021 offseason? What do you think your most pressing needs were?
So definitely at cornerback, I mean, obviously with the departure of Shaquille Griffin, you needed to bring in a guy to replace him. And even at that point, like Shaquille Griffin, he was all right. He wasn't a superstar. I don't think he was a scrub. He was kind of just in between. He had his best year a couple of years ago. But this past season, I thought he was so-and-so. And so I didn't mind losing him just because I wasn't – if I was in Seattle's position as a GM, I wouldn't want to extend him or give him the money that Jacksonville gave him. And so I was all right with that. Keller Witherspoon, I know he's been injury prone, but I think he has a lot of potential. If he's able to stay healthy, if he's able to get right in coverage, I think that he has a lot of potential to succeed. But yeah, I think that I like the defense. I like the pieces that were brought in. I think another need was definitely a wide receiver 3, and whether that's a tight end or a wide receiver, I thought that Seattle addressed it not only by bringing in Dwayne Eskridge, undrafted free agents, Tamorion Terry, Kay Johnson, Gerald Everett from LA. So those are more weapons, just because last year when DK and Tyler was taken away from opposing defenses, Russell Wilson didn't have a reliable third option to really throw to. And so I thought that the pass catching options, that definitely was a need. I think obviously offensive line, and Seattle addressed that by bringing in Gabe Jackson, Stone Forsythe from the draft. But yeah, offensive line, receiving core, and then cornerback.
Hey, great answers. And I think, like you said, the Seahawks definitely boasted up their wide receiving core by getting the gentleman you mentioned in the draft. Like you said, they got Gabe Jackson. I mean, what are the Raiders doing? I mean, it seemed like that was a money thing. Like they had one of the most expensive offensive lines over the past few years, and I guess they were like, well, that hasn't really gotten us anywhere, so let's get rid of him, which I guess makes sense. But why trade him to the NFC West, man? What are y'all doing? Y'all bringing in more competition to the NFC West, and the Seattle Seahawks definitely are looking pretty good this year. Looks like Tommy has a comment. He says, "Can you say one and done?" And he's referring to the Hawks. So I see you, Tommy. Payo Time had a question for the Seahawks. He says, curious, what Seahawks fans' expectations for Metcalf next year is? What do you think his expectations are?
Man, well, I think that through year 2, I mean, he's already shattered all expectations. He was drafted the bottom of the second round, almost into the third round, and here he is putting up or breaking Steve Largent's record for franchise receiving yards in the season. He's putting up 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns only in his second season, being compared to Megatron, putting up record numbers in the playoffs for a rookie. And so I think up to date, he's already shattered all expectations. But moving into year 3, I expect him to be an All-Pro. I expect him to take that leap from being a Pro Bowler to an All-Pro. I know that he's a flashy name, but he still has some things to work on. I think that his run blocking, he can be more disciplined in his routes, and I think that he could still be more concentrated in his routes. he could still expand his route tree a little bit more. And so, for as flashy as he is, those numbers that he's putting up, he's already a Pro Bowl talent heading into year 3. I expect an All-Pro leap. I expect at least, man, I'm going to go out and say 1,500 yards and then at least 10-plus touchdowns, maybe more receptions this time around, 90 to 95. But I expect a lot of great things from DK Metcalf.
Man, there's no doubt. DK Metcalf, that guy is a mover and a groover. That guy, I saw him on the track. He went and ran the 100. Now, obviously, no one expected him to win the 100, but he held his own. He easily weighs like 30 to 40 pounds more than the other runners that he was running next to in the track and field. But he held his own, and there's no doubt that the Seahawks have wide receivers, a plethora of wide receivers that the 49ers will definitely be tested. And that's why I wanted the Niners to go after Stephon Gilmore. I know Stephon Gilmore, he's 30 years old. He was a little injury prone last year. I think he injured his elbow, but that man was playing at an all-pro level, Stephon Gilmore, for 2018 and 2019. And I just wish my Niners would have gotten, at least inquired about getting him, because I don't think the Patriots will trade, or excuse me, I don't think the Patriots and Bill Belichick will extend Gilmore. They usually don't extend players past 30, unless you're Tom Brady, But speaking of the Seahawks, the Rams got wide receivers, the Cardinals got wide receivers, and there's no doubt all you guys would definitely give the 49ers, our hands will definitely be full in the secondary when we play you guys. That's for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. Something else I wanted to ask you. So who are the Seahawks most pressing players that aren't on the team anymore? So the players that, made the most impact last year that aren't on the team this year.
I mean, there were a couple of departures, right? We talked about Shaquille Griffin.
Yeah.
There's also KJ Wright, who's yet to be re-signed. And so there's Jaron Reed, there's David Moore, there's Carlos Hyde, Mike Upati. Out of all those guys, I'm gonna have to go with KJ Wright. And with the year that he had last season, I mean, he reestablished himself as one of the best linebackers in all of football. And it still surprises me, that he's a free agent right now. And I understand we got Jordan Brooks in the waiting, but I just think that the drop off might be somewhat steep. And so I think that his departure might sting the most. But who knows? Jordan Brooks could explode. I'm hearing a lot of great things about Jordan Brooks. A lot of people are high on his potential, especially the Seahawks. And so we're going to have to see how that goes. But for right now, I'm going to have to go with KJ Wright.
Yeah, I'm surprised that KJ Wright is still a free agent. I'm going to look him up real quick. But, he's 31 years old, so obviously he's on the wrong side of 30. But when we played you guys last year, KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner flashed on my screen, so it still looked like he could play. Do you think it could just be a money issue with KJ?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's on record saying that he's not going to take a hometown discount, but the market for an off-the-ball linebacker, it's not that much. For as great as he was last year on the wrong side of 30, he just doesn't really provide A-plus value as a pass rusher. And so, that being said, he's going to have a hard time finding the money that he wants and maybe even that he deserves.
Okay. No, that's an excellent point. And I'm intrigued to see where he'll end up, because I think he's still an excellent linebacker. And at the age he's at, he's not going to garner a long-term contract. He's not going to sign a 4 or 5 year deal. It'll probably be, 2 or 3 years guaranteed at most. And, I'm eager to see where he lands. I think the Niners are pretty set at linebacker, so I don't think, we'll go after him, but I'm eager to see where he ends up. Looks like Splash Out. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says the Seahawks are going to start 5-0, but end up 10-7. And we'll see what happens. But we're definitely going to talk about the schedule. And I appreciate you, Splash Out, for leaving that comment. But we're definitely going to talk about what Steezy A. Smith feels like the Seahawks will end up next year. And looks like Payo Time. I appreciate the comments. He says Wilson is one of my favorite players to watch play football, even if he is on the rival Seahawks. He can sling it so well. There's no doubt. No doubt he is one of the best, quarterbacks out there. And what did you think about that? Since we're on Russell Wilson right now, he was ranked by PFF. I think he was ranked number 22 out of top 100 players. What did you think about that? You think he should rank higher, lower, or is that just right?
Man, I'm going to have to go definitely a little higher than that. When we talk about quarterbacks, anytime we talk about quarterbacks, obviously there's more of a premium placed on quarterbacks. And with Russell Wilson, he's still a top 3 quarterback in all of football. And so to me, that automatically warrants top 10 status in the league. And so we saw in a lot of top 100 lists, I saw Russell Wilson in a lot of top fives, a lot of top 10s, top eights. And so for PFF to put him outside of the top 10, not just the top 10, and put him outside the top 20. And so I get it. Look, he had a terrible second half of last year. He struggled immensely. But if we still look at who he is, he's 31 going on 32 years old. He was the MVP just in the first half of last year. And so I understand he struggled, but I think heading into this year, he's going to prove people wrong, especially PFF. I mean, they talk about him highly all the time. And so for them to put him at 22, man, that's kind of a slap in the face. But maybe his play from the second half, maybe that's all they took into consideration. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why he was ranked 22. I'm not sure if you saw the top 10, but let me read out the top 10 to you and also the people that are watching right now. So this is the PFF top 100 players list for the upcoming season. So number 1 is Aaron Donald, LA Rams. Number 2 is Pat Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, Travis Kelce. Number 4, Quentin Nelson of the Indianapolis Colts. 5 is Devontae Adams of the Packers. 6, Khalil Mack with the Chicago Bears. That was kind of a surprise because it doesn't seem like he's made a significant impact on that Bears team. Number 7, you had Tom Brady. And number 8, you had Bobby Wagner with the Seahawks. Number 9, you had the best tight end in the NFL, George Kittle. He's number 9. Number 10, you had Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. So that's the top 10. And I think, if I would put Russell Wilson in that top 10, I would probably, if I were me, I would probably take Khalil Mack out. But that would be my top 10. But that was an interesting list of the top 10. And going back into the Seattle Seahawks offseason, there was some rumbling. There was some more noise about Jamal Adams and his contract situation. So everyone knows Jamal Adams, drafted by the New York Jets. I believe he was a first-round pick. He was balling out playing. Yeah, he was balling out, playing pretty well with the Jets. And basically, he wanted out. He was unhappy with the coaching staff there. He wanted out. He forced his way out. The Seahawks gave up 2 premium first-round picks for Jamal Adams. And now he's missed mandatory training camp. What's up with that, Steezy? What's going on?
Oh, well, first of all, just to kind of add a little bit of context, the Seahawks did excuse his absence. And so the fact that his absence was excused, I think that means a lot, and that's very telling. It means that, they're working on some things behind the scenes, and that if he's missing camp, he's not necessarily holding out, because if he was holding out, why would Seattle excuse him to hold out? Like, to me, that just doesn't make much sense. And when it comes to Seattle extending players, they usually wait until training camp rolls around, and so training camp isn't for another month. And I understand there's a lot of specifics, there's a lot of parameters regarding Jamal Adams' deal. He's asking to not just get paid as a highest safety. He's trying to blow that market away, but he's also trying to be paid like a defensive weapon. He's trying to be paid 20 plus, or maybe at least as a top 10 defensive player in all of football. And so, those things being said, I think that it's all good. There's no reason to panic. It's been a while, but about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I dropped a video about why Seahawks fans shouldn't even be tripping, shouldn't even be worried about his contract extension. Like you said, they gave a premium, 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, a starting safety. And so they knew what his demands were when they traded for him. When he was still in New York, he was on the record saying that he was looking to get paid somewhere along the lines of 20-plus mil. And so when Seattle traded for him, they knew what they were getting. Seattle, look, they're a first-class organization. What can I say, right? And so they know what they're doing. They're not going to be, trading for dudes and not extending dudes. That just doesn't make much sense. It's a bad business move. And so Seattle not known for making too many of those. While they have made some of those, they're not really known for doing that. And so they know what they're doing. Jamal knows what he's doing. I think it's all good. But I think that maybe come the end of training camp, maybe even once preseason comes around, if he's still not signed, then maybe, fans should start worrying. But as of right now, I think we should just chill out.
No, I feel you. I definitely feel your perspective. I think on that Adams situation, I think the Seattle Seahawks could be, they don't want the publicity of Adams missing camp, so maybe that's why they're excusing him. But that's just nice to talk about. But the last safety who signed was Justin Simmons, and he's making about $15 million per year average. So you think the Seahawks will sign Adams and he'll get about $20 million per year?
Nah, I don't know about 20. I think that most definitely he's gonna set the market for safeties. It's gonna be above. Actually, bro, you said around 15. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might actually be 16.1. Okay. And so I think he'll definitely break that record for safeties, but I don't think it'll exceed 19. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of 17 and a half, maybe 18, maybe even 18 and a half. But right now, Bobby Wagner is the highest paid defensive player on the roster. And so I don't know if Seattle will be willing to make Jamal the highest paid. If they do, it won't be by much.
Yeah. No, I mean, the salary cap, it's all funny money. I mean, contracts can be restructured. Guys get cut. The biggest thing on players' contract is the dead cap and their guaranteed money, because all that stuff can be restructured. But someone had a comment here, Tommy Huxley. He says you overpaid for a backup pass rusher. He's talking about Kerry Hyder. What do you say to that, Steezy?
He's talking about overpaid.
Yeah.
So first, actually, hold on. He got a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. That third year, that's worth 10 years. That's a voidable year. And so that's non-guaranteed. None of that money is guaranteed. You take that away, it's a 2-year, $6 million deal. That's a steal. What you talking about, bro? 8.5 sacks. Okay, that's what he is. Okay, he might be a backup pass rusher, right? But when he was in Detroit, he also had an 8-sack season. And so, okay, backup pass rusher he might be, but 2 years, $6.5 million, I think that's an absolute steal.
And I'm looking at the contract right now. The Seahawks have an out on the contract next year, and basically it'll only be a 1.7 mil dead cap hit. So if it doesn't really work out this year, they can cut Hyder, and they would only have to pay him 1.7. So I mean, he for the production he gave last year, Tommy, he had 8.5 sacks. I think that I don't know if it's a steal, but that's a pretty solid deal on both ends. I think that's a pretty solid deal. I can't lie. Corey Davis, he's showing Steezy some love. He's saying, "What's good?"
What's up?
Looks like Splash Out. Splash Out says the Vikings are going to beat the Hawks in week 3. Sorry, Steezy. What do you think about that? You think you're going to beat the Vikings?
Look, that's week 3 of the regular season. I think the Seahawks have the Vikings number, 3-0 in the last 3 seasons. So if y'all want that, y'all can have it. I mean, that's week 3 of the regular season. I only really care about playoff games. Seahawks only really care about championships. And so if y'all want that, y'all can have it. Y'all can have the dub. I'll take the Super Bowl instead.
Wow.
You know that the Hawks are better than the Vikings. I mean, that's not really an argument. And so, I ain't worried.
No, you saying someone, a football fan, would rather take Captain Kirk over Russell Wilson?
Yeah, see, that's absolute blasphemy. That's
I think honestly though, I think it will be a close game. The Vikings got a pretty solid defense. They got a good running game, so that will be an exciting game. But I think the Seahawks will definitely take that. And I appreciate everyone commenting on the video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. And for those that are just coming in, make sure you check out Steezy's social media, and I'll get that up right now. Make sure you check out his IG, his Twitter. Make sure you guys check that out. Show him some love. And we will continue with the comments, but let me first get into another banner. Give me 1 second. So from a 49er fan perspective, when I think about the Seahawks, obviously you got Russell Wilson. He's a beast. You got the wide receivers. The offensive line has improved. You got Chris Carson. He's a pretty good running back when healthy. For me, from a 49er fan perspective, I think the Seahawks' weakness has been the defense. So do you think it's improved greatly from last year, or do you think it's going to take some weeks in the season to get that defense right?
It's definitely improved. Like I said, I think that Seattle could definitely build off of what they did in the second half of last season. I don't think that they're going to finish top 2 in the NFL in the last 10 weeks of the season. I don't think they're going to finish that high, but I think somewhere along the lines of maybe middle of the pack, maybe, in the upper half of the league in terms of defensive impact, and so, or how good they are defensively. And I think that they did just enough. I still think that there's holes in the secondary, specifically at cornerback. That's why I would want Richard Sherman to come back to Seattle, or at least Seattle make an attempt to trade for Stephon Gilmore. But I think that having a solid pass rush always helps the secondary. And so I think that that's kind of somewhat negated by the pass rush that, Seattle now boasts. And then in the linebacking core, I still would like to see KJ Wright come back, even at the expense of snaps with Jordan Brooks. But I am excited about his potential. Jamal, he's going to have a full offseason. I know he's missing some camp, but I know sooner rather than later he'll be back over there with the rest of the guys. And he's going to have a full offseason. Remember, last year he didn't have a full offseason. It was COVID and all that stuff. And so he never really got it going. He didn't really get to establish any sort of rhythm with the Seahawks, didn't establish any sort of chemistry with his teammates. And so now that he has that, Quandre Diggs, he's a Pro Bowler. I mean, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm eager to see how this defense, will make plays. I feel like that's been the issue with the Seahawks the last few years. Obviously, we are decades, years away from the Legion of Boom. Obviously, there's no more Legion of Boom, thankfully. But you mentioned Richard Sherman. You mentioned Richard Sherman. Obviously, he's a great Seattle Seahawk. He'll go up in that Seattle Seahawks Ring of Honor. Hell, he might even get his jersey retired. No doubt, he's Hall of Famer. I enjoyed his time, of course, in the red and gold. But the last few years have been lackluster for Richard Sherman, if I'm being completely honest. He dealt with that calf injury. He had that Achilles injury. And he's still a free agent. I would be surprised if the Niners brought him back. Do you still think Richard Sherman can be maybe not elite corner, but you think he could still be like above average corner at this year or this state of his career?
Most definitely. I mean, I think his biggest issue now is not just the fact that he's lost, some speed and quickness just because he's had diminished athleticism. Obviously, that comes with age, but I still think he brings a lot of intangibles, not just on the field, but off the field, in the locker room as a leader. But I think that on the field, in the games that he played last year, he wasn't too bad. And in some of the games that he did play, he was playing injured. And so the numbers might not look too great, but I still think that he's definitely an above average corner. In football last season, it was marred by injury, but bro, just the year before that, he was a second team All Pro. Remember when Nick Bosa was healthy? Richard Sherman had 3 picks, a second team All Pro, and I know Sammy Watkins, he got burned by Sammy in the Super Bowl, but overall, that regular season, that was just 2 seasons ago, and so he's still, capable of providing or being able to be a starter for a secondary for a winning team, and I think that. As much as I hate to say it, I still think that it's realistic that you guys sign him or at least bring him back. He does want to play for a winner. He does want to play for a contender. And so I think that at this point in the offseason, he's going to be willing to take a hometown discount, or at least not a hometown, but a discount, just because time is starting to dwindle.
Yeah. No, you bring up a great point about Richard Sherman. When I think of a secondary's best friend is a pass rush. And there's no doubt during that 2019 season, when the Niner Empire was in the Super Bowl that year, Sherman was playing lights out. But what do you think? Do you think he could transition to the safety position? I personally think he could be a safety if because he's no longer fleet of foot. He can no longer match up with the best wide receivers in man-to-man coverage. I think he's best at zone coverage. Obviously, he's one of the best tackling corners I've ever seen. He's very heady. Do you think he could play the safety position at a high level?
Yeah, I think that right now he has all the intangibles. I mean, like you said, he plays more off of his smarts rather than his athleticism. And so, usually a lot of guys, especially veteran corners, especially the great ones, they tend to transition into becoming safeties. That's what Charles Woodson did. When he was with the Raiders, he was a corner, and he went to Green Bay towards the end of his career, became a safety. They won a Super Bowl. And I think he was close to winning another Defensive Player of the Year over there, if not in Green Bay. And so I think Richard Sherman, he has all the tools to be successful, but I still think he could contribute a lot of value as a corner for another year or two, but later on in his career,
Yeah, there's no doubt that Richard Sherman brings a lot to the table. As you mentioned, he's very heady. And you mentioned the Niners should look into getting Richard Sherman. And, we already re-signed Jason Verrett. He was playing at an all-pro level last year, re-signed Emmanuel Mosley, 2-year deal, re-signed K'Wan Williams to a 1-year deal. And we drafted some rookie studs in this year's draft. And the only thing about bringing Richard Sherman on is I don't think he's at the stage of his career where he wants to take a backseat. He's not going to want to, play limited snaps. And I feel it's important that we have our rookies get those snap counts, because potentially they could be starters next year on the Niners. So I'm intrigued to see where Richard Sherman ends up. No doubt Hall of Famer, mad respect to Richard Sherman. And, I'm eager to see where he lands. That would be interesting if he did go back, to the Seahawks, especially since real cool. Yeah, especially since Shaquille Griffin, left and went to the Jaguars. But we have a question for you, Steezy. It's like Payo time. All right. So he says, Payo time says, I asked this in the most genuine way possible. Many Niners, Rams, and Cardinals fans say Russell Wilson hides a lot of the flaws of the Seahawks. What do you think, Steezy, when you hear that as a Seahawks fan?
That's true. That's 100% spot on. Just because I'm a big Seahawks guy doesn't mean I'm not going to, stray away from criticizing. I call it how I see it, even if it's my team. And yeah, Russell Wilson does cover a lot of those flaws. But at the same time, he creates some of those flaws. I'm of the notion that Russell Wilson is responsible for at least 25 to 30% of the sacks that he takes. People are talking about, the offensive line this, offensive line that. I get it. But when you look at some of the numbers, Pro Football Focus, they gave Seattle a middle of the pack offensive line. ESPN, they finished top 10 in pass block win rate, run block win rate, finished top 15, top 20. And so if that's the case, you got an all-pro left tackle too in Dwayne Brown. You got Damian Lewis, who's one of the best rookies at guard. Ethan Posick, it can't get any worse than last year. It's only going to go up. So that you have a decent offensive line in front of you. And so Russell Wilson taking all these sacks, that has to be some of his fault. I mean, he's taking way too long sometimes to get rid of the football. He's holding on to the football for far too long, always looking for the Superman play, but sometimes it's just not there. He doesn't throw the football away. And not only that, he rarely checks down. And so Russell Wilson, I'm going to say it again, he's responsible for at least 25 to 30% of those sacks that he takes. So while he does mask some of the flaws that the Seahawks display, he also provides some of those same flaws that Seattle suffers from. And I think that heading into next season, Shane Waldron, he's going to do a pretty okay job, I think, just because of the scheme that he's going to implement. It's going to be a scheme that, like I said earlier, it's going to be a lot of 3 wide. He's going to get Russell Wilson get rid of the football a lot quicker. And so he's not always going to be looking for the Superman play. He's going to make the game a lot easier for us, give him quicker reads, easier reads, put the ball into the hands of his playmakers. There's a whole lot of them in Seattle. And so to answer that question, yes, and also no.
And that's one of Russell. That's what's funny about Russell Wilson. No doubt he's great, future Hall of Famer, but his one of his biggest strengths is he'll hold on, he'll snap the ball, he'll wait in the pocket, he'll wait, longer, he'll run around in the pocket, he'll run to the right, he'll run to the left. But sometimes that could be a weakness because then you could get sacked. So that's what's interesting about Russell Wilson. He loves to look, as you mentioned, Steezy, he loves to look for that home run play to DK, going deep, throwing the ball 60, 70 yards down the field. But sometimes your strength can be your weakness. But it seemed like Russell struggled in the last 8 games of the year. Some were saying he was doing too much, but it seemed like the running game just wasn't effective. So he kind of had to do a lot. What is your take on that? Do you think when Russell doesn't have his running game, he's less effective, or you just think he needs to make better decisions with the ball?
I think it's both, but definitely more of the former. And yes, like I said, he is at fault, but at the same time, the run game only really suffered because Chris Carson missed games yet again. Rashad Penny missed games yet again. Carlos Hyde missed games yet again. And so we were seeing DJ Dallas, Travis Homer. Travis Homer missed games too. And so DJ Dallas was on the field. Seattle, you have to bring in Bo Scarborough and other veterans throughout the season, or at least the second half of last year. So that's why the running game suffered. As far as the question goes in regards to how he looks without a decent run game, I don't think I'm not really going to buy any of that just because a couple of years ago, back in 2017, Russell Wilson accounted for 98% of the Seahawks' touchdowns that year. And so he didn't really have a run game whatsoever. But yeah, he was able to carry the Seahawks, and they finished with a pretty efficient offense, one of the better offenses in football. And so he doesn't necessarily need a running game to look good, but a good running game definitely helps him look even better than he already is.
Right. No, totally. I definitely agree with that. Osby Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Keep doing what you're doing, Osby. I see you. You keep pushing out that YouTube content, man. He's also a 49er fan. Gabe Cortez had a question about the Seahawks secondary. We talked about that a little bit. They've made some improvements in the secondary, and I feel like a secondary's best friend is a pass rush, and I feel like their pass rush should be pretty good with Dunlap and Hyder on the edge. So, we'll see how that secondary holds up. 49er faithful, what's good? He says, Steezy, were you disappointed? I think that's what he meant to say. Were you disappointed that your Hawks didn't get Julio?
No. I mean, I made a video talking about how realistic a Julio to Seattle trade might be, but I'm not tripping too hard. I mean, with Julio coming to Tennessee, I think the Titans now have the best wide receiver duo in all of football. But before that trade, we had the best wide receiver duo in all of football. And so that only puts Seattle at number 2 after Julio and A.J. Brown. But DK Tyler's still number 2 in the league, at least in my eyes. And then Gerald Everett, he's gonna make an impact. Kay Johnson, Tamorion Terry, Dwayne Eskridge. There's a lot of names that people are sleeping on.
No, I agree. And I'll tell you from a 49er fan perspective, I was definitely disappointed we didn't get Julio. Yeah, he's on the wrong side of 30. But if you look at his stats, besides last year, he was pretty. He dealt with those nagging foot injuries, but he played in a lot of the games, and he was still a productive receiver. And he made him and Shanahan when they were together. That was the year they went to the Super Bowl, and obviously Julio thrived in that system. So I was definitely disappointed that we didn't get Julio. But I can't lie, I'm glad he did not go to the NFC West because that would have been another headache for all the teams in the NFC West. But now we got to get into one of my favorite portions of the show. I need you to give me a prediction of the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think their record will be? Actually, first, what do you think the toughest outer division game will be for the Seahawks? I'm not sure if you have the schedule up, but let me know. What do you think the toughest outer division game will be for the Seahawks this year?
Man, let me actually just pull up the schedule real fast.
Okay.
Because I don't know about the let me see. Seahawks schedule. You said out of the division, right?
Yeah, out of the division. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely I remember seeing the opponents when the schedule came out, and so
yeah.
Let me see. Okay, let me see what this Steelers. Man, bro, I think this might surprise some people, but I'm gonna have to go with the Washington football team. Seattle's gonna play on Monday Night Football, Week 12. It's gonna be at Washington, and so with Washington, they finished with one of the best defenses in all of football last year. All those guys are only gonna stand to get better. Chase Young, he's a beast. He's only gonna get better. Montez Sweat, he's also a beast. He's only gonna get better. And they at least added a competent quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's gonna help the defense in and of itself. Landon Collins coming back. And last year it was a tough game between the two, and so I'm gonna have to go with the Washington football team in Week 12.
That's a excellent pick because there's no doubt. Washington beat us last year, and there's no doubt that defensive line is just nasty with the gentleman you mentioned up front. And so, what do you think is who is the Seattle Seahawks' toughest NFC West division opponent? Let me know that.
Ooh, man. Hey, look, but like I said at the beginning of the show, it's the best division in all of football by far. I mean, I see all these teams making the playoffs. Like, for real. I see all these teams finishing at 500 or above, or at least above 500 or hovering around there. But that said, just because I'm unsure about how Trey Lance is going to look, or I don't know if Trey Lance is going to start, and I don't know, people don't know what he's going to look like right off the bat. We don't know if Jimmy G is going to stay healthy. I'm going to have to go with the Rams. Obviously the Rams every single year, they seem to have the Seahawks' number. Seattle always, struggles. Obviously, it's a division opponent. Seattle's going to struggle against every division opponent. But I think with LA, with them bringing Matthew Stafford in, that offense is going to be explosive. And then the defense, I've talked about how I feel like that defense isn't going to be as good as it was last year. And I'm not sure if Matthew Stafford can offset those losses. But, I mean, whether or not the Rams are good, they always present the toughest challenge for Seattle. So I'm going to have to go with the Rams.
There's no doubt the Rams have upgraded at quarterback. We're getting Stafford. The knock on Stafford is, he threw for over 5,000 yards, but he's never had success in the playoffs. But some would attribute that to the team he's been on, the management. And I think there's no doubt Stafford is with the best team he's ever been, I think, in his career, with the weapons you guys have on. Yeah, with the weapons you guys on offense, the running game. I say you guys, I meant the Rams. The Rams offensive weapons. And also, of course, the Lions, when he was with the Lions, they didn't really have a defense. And there's no doubt the Rams defense is pretty good. In certain categories last year, the Rams had the number one defense, and they're bringing back, of course, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. And they also have Leonard Floyd. So they got a good defensive line. They got corners. Now, what I've been curious about the Rams is, what do they have behind that? They have a bunch of, no names behind that. Or I should say they don't have household names behind that. So we'll see what they do. But the Rams, they'll definitely be tough, especially led by McVay and Stafford. Now, looking through your schedule, the first game of the year, Seahawks at Indianapolis. You guys think that's a win or a loss?
I'm going to have to go with the dub just because I feel like, it is on the road to kick off the season, but Indianapolis, they're going to have some growing pains, especially offensively throughout the first half of the season. I think that the Colts are going to be much better come playoff time because I see them making the playoffs as a wild card, but it's going to take time for Carson Wentz to establish any sort of chemistry with, what's his name from US, Michael Pittman, with T.Y. Hilton, establish chemistry with his offensive lineman, the running game. So I think that's a dub.
Cool. All right. Lennon Wolf, what's good? He's an Arizona Cardinals fan. Yeah, thanks for coming through to the stream. Andrew Smith, he had a question. He says, why does Wilson want out of Seattle?
I mean, right now, I don't think he wants out of Seattle. But if we go back to some of the drama that ensued earlier this offseason, I think I'm going to have to go with just the fact that he didn't have very much personnel control, along with the fact that Seattle hasn't been past the NFC divisional round since we went to the Super Bowl 2014 season. The Jacksonville Jaguars actually have more playoff victories than the Seahawks since 2017, and so that's another factor. They just haven't been winning. Obviously, regular season games, yeah, they're winning games, but they're not winning playoff games, and so that's, I think, a big factor.
All right, Logan's Giants Zone. What's good? Thanks for coming into the stream. Looks like Gabe. I think he's a Seattle Seahawks fan. Looks like he's backing you. He says Wilson is happy. Does not want to leave. Media exploited it. Okay, that's your opinion. I respect it. But I agree with you, Steezy, that Russell Wilson definitely wanted more control. And I don't know how you feel. I'm gonna get your thoughts on it, but I feel like the players play. And obviously the management hires scouting teams. Like they literally scout throughout the entire year. If Russell Wilson says, hey, I need help on the offensive line, I need help running backs, wide receivers, I think the management should definitely listen to him. But they shouldn't have to come to him and say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I think, his best ability is playing on the field, focusing on that. But I think he should definitely give his input, but they don't necessarily have to. They can definitely listen, but they don't have to do whatever he says. How do you feel about that?
Bro, I'm 100% with you. I mean, I've been talking about, or at least I was of the mindset that, yeah, Seattle should definitely give him some control. I mean, and I agree with you, at least in that regard, or at least in that aspect. He's not going to just tell the front office, oh, I want this guy, draft this guy, trade for this guy, sign this guy, release this guy, cut this guy. No, he's not even seeking total control. All he wants is a little bit of input. All he wants is, a little bit of he wants to help out. He wants to give suggestions. He has, things to say. He's a smart football player. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And so that would entail at least being somewhat smart. And so that being said, I mean, I think that Seattle definitely did that. They definitely catered to him somewhat this past offseason. And yeah, I think from now, everything's all good.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think we'll revisit this definitely next year. I mean, we'll see how the Seahawks, schedule and season plays out. But there's definitely been some rumblings in the past, and we'll see what happens. Now, Pale Time has a question. He says, "Always curious if then everyone thinks that the NFC West all starts 1-0. I know, Steezy, you said that you guys would win. The Niners, we going to Motown. I think that's definitely a win.
Easy,
we're definitely better. Yeah, we're definitely better on paper. Jimmy G should look real good in that game. And the Cards at the Titans, that's going to be a pretty good game. I think the Cards will definitely have the toughest matchup. And then the Rams versus the Bears. I think that's going to be a primetime game. Rams versus Bears should be pretty good, but I think the Rams should win that game. And as Peo Ted, as Peo says, he thinks the Cards have the toughest week 1. And so week 2, Steezy, you guys play the Titans. That's your home opener against the Titans. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a win or a loss?
I think before they traded for Julio, I said it was a dub. And although what I'm about to say might, shock some Seahawks fans out there, I'm not saying that the Titans are a better team than the Seahawks. All I'm saying is they're going to get the dub week 2. I think that that's their first home game. I don't know if the Titans are home or away in week 1, but if that turns out to be their first home game of the season, it would too hosting the Seahawks. I just think that the crowd, I mean, they're going to feed a lot of energy, and I think the Titans are going to feed off of that. It's going to be Julio's first home game. They're going to want to win that for him. And with Seattle, yes, the pass rush is going to help mask some of the issues in the secondary, but, man, I think Julio and A.J. Brown might have a field day with the Seattle secondary if things don't go according to plan, just because while I have confidence in DJ Reed, there are still some question marks about Caleb Witherspoon. He has to stay healthy. He has to be healthy entering that point of the season. But I have a lot of expectations and high hopes for Trey Brown and some of the other guys, Pierre Desir. I'm excited, but they might not have the chemistry necessary to stop the Titans in week 2.
Okay. And Tommy gives his opinion. He says the Seahawks are going to lose to Indy, Cards losing to Titans, Rams and Niners win. We'll see. We'll see what comes to fruition, Tommy. CG Ruthless Sports, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the
What's
stream.
going on, bro?
Yes, you and CG are on the NFC West Roundtable show, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are.
All right. Okay, let's see. CG has a question for you, Steezy. He says, how do you feel about Trey Brown?
Man, like I just said, bro, I feel real good about Trey Brown. I dropped a video about a month ago, and I just pretty much talked about how he's a dog. He's a clutch football player. He's about my height. He's like 5'9". He's about 186 pounds, but we've seen success from corners under 6 feet tall in the NFL. A lot of people will argue that Jair Alexander was the best corner in all of football last year for the Packers. He's under 6 feet tall. He's like 5'9", 5'10". Trey Brown or Tre'Davious White, excuse me, from the Buffalo Bills. He's about 5'10", 5'9". He's one of the best corners in all of football. Trey Brown, he's really only overlooked because he spends a lot of time in college and he's under 6 feet tall. But he's a cannon. He's a dog. He has a lot of energy. He contributes on special teams. He excels, I think, in man coverage. He only really struggles against bigger receivers, but he also tends to win some of those matchups as well. So I'm really excited about him, and I think that he might have the potential to start come the middle or end of the season.
All right. And Steven says weeks 1 and 2 is a double AFC South feature for the Seattle Seahawks. Yep, yeah, Colts and Titans. So that is correct. Yeah, Steven is a Tennessee Titans fan. He was really happy when his team, of course, got Julio Jones. So good luck to your Titans this year. Yeah, exactly, right. And I have to mention this comment. What's good, Jay? How you doing? Now he a lot of 49er fans I've heard mention this. They don't like the Seahawks fans because they, some of their fans threw popcorn at Navarro Bowman after he got injured. What are your thoughts on that, Steezy?
Man, bro, that was a classless act. I mean, when I saw that, I was just like, I'm not claiming these fans tonight. mean, because look, Navarro Bowman, he was a beast for y'all. He was one of the best linebackers alongside Patrick Willis. I respected a lot of those defensive players you guys had when Colin Kaepernick was still around. Patrick Willis was actually one of my favorite players in all of football at that point in time. And so you guys had some dogs in the secondary. And so I really liked some of the players you guys had. Alden Smith obviously was a beast, but when that happened, man, I was just like, I can't claim to be a 12th man tonight just because that was such a classless act. I mean, the man tore his ACL, right?
Yeah.
And you gonna throw skills at the man? Like, come on, bro. Like, you just shouldn't be doing that to any player, whether or not it's a rival. You just don't do that. Even if it's a professional athlete, another human being, you don't throw food, especially when somebody's down. I've always been taught to uplift those that are down. You don't kick them while they're down. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I think sometimes fans can take it too far. It's just a game at the end of the day. It kind of reminded me, when KD, you remember in the finals game where he tore his Achilles and some of the fans, were clapping or, they were excited. I could see you being excited because you feel like your chances of winning are, have increased, right? But then you don't want to laugh or, when someone's at their downfall, when someone just experienced like a 2-year recovery injury, so,
exactly.
Sometimes fans do take it too far. I gotta say what's up to Who's. I gotta say what's up to Who's house, Rams house. What's good, man? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. We're just talking about, of course, the good old red and gold, and of course the Seattle Seahawks. Steezy A. Smith represents them really well, and I definitely appreciate you coming through. Now, continue on with the schedule. Let's see. The next game you guys play is at Minnesota. I think you said, you said that in that game you said that it could be either a win or loss. It's on the road in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. It's really a toss-up, really.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear that because Vikings are a pretty good team. So instead of going down the schedule about the division games, what do you think your overall record will be in the division this year?
In the division? I'm just gonna say 500 because I have one loss to every team in the division. I have a loss against the Cardinals, a loss against the Rams, and a loss against your 49ers. So I'm gonna just say 500.
Yeah. No, and when I looked at the schedule, that's definitely something I could see as well because all three teams present problems for the Niners and vice versa. I think that all the games will be close. Obviously some of the games will be determined by who turns over the ball the least, who's able to commit the least amount of penalties, who has the ball at the end of the game. Like, I think it'll definitely be very close. And what do you think the Seahawks record will be this year?
I've been on record saying this on NordCam's roundtable. I said 12-5. And as of right now, I'm going to stick to that. I think that Seattle, low key, I still think they got another move up their sleeves. John Schneider likes to pull rabbits out of his hats. And he usually does that, whether it's in season, deadline, end of the offseason, preseason. And so it's still early. Like I said, there's another month until training camp begins. There's a lot of moves still left to be made. And although I'm confident, I'm confident in the Seahawks entering this coming season, I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, they're a flawless team and they don't have any needs. They still have some needs, and they still have some needs that I'd like to see them address. The time to win is now. The Super Bowl window is now. Russell Wilson is happy for now. And so all those things being said, I mean, they got to make the moves necessary to keep winning, to keep Russell Wilson happy. And if there's an opportunity that presents itself, I see Seattle pouncing.
No, I dig it. You know, Russell Wilson may be happy, but I don't know if his wife, Sierra, is happy in rainy Seattle. Why she want to stay in Seattle, Steezy? She want to go to New York City, you know, in the bright lights, the big city. You know what I'm saying? Is that accurate?
Nah, bro. I think that's all cap. That's all BS. I think that, look, bro, and this might be a little biased, but hey, look, Seattle is a great city, bro. Seattle is a dope city. As you know, there's a lot of things that are legal over here in Seattle that aren't in other places. I'm gonna say it like that. Well, you got the Space Needle over here. You got, you know, Pike Place Market. You got good sports teams. You got a lot of diversity. You got Starbucks. You got Boeing, Microsoft. You got all that good stuff. And I think that Seattle is starting to become more of a great city, especially when it comes to being a tourist attraction. It's starting to be more on the map. I just hear more and more people talking about Seattle. And so, man, I love my city. I think it's a great city. Sierra, she really does feel that way. I'm tripping.
No, that's a great answer. And I'm eager to see how this is going to play out. Russell Wilson, but I'm definitely excited for the season to start. Let's see. Payo Time says he has a question for both of us. He says, when your team plays the Rams, who concerns you more, Ramsey at that cornerback spot or Aaron Donald on that D line?
Man, bro, I think this one's easy. And no disrespect to my favorite corner in all of football, but I'm gonna have to go Aaron Donald. I mean, PFF said that he's the best player in football, right? Well, man, I might just agree. If he's not the best player in football, he's top 3, but he's easily the best defensive player in all of football. It don't matter how many offensive linemen you throw at him, 2, 3, triple teams, double teams. He's going to beat them all. He's going to continue to put up a fight against anybody in the league, even against the best offensive lines in all of football. And so against Seattle, he's always wreaking havoc. He's always a terror. He's always a force. I'm more scared of Aaron Donald.
Great point. Great question from Payo Time. There's no doubt. I feel like football is won and lost in the trenches. And there's no doubt last year, that Daniel Brunskill, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Steezy, but Daniel Brunskill at that guard spot shut down Aaron Donald. Now, obviously, you know, I think this was a blip. This ain't necessarily a trend, but there's no doubt Aaron Donald is a disruptive force on that defensive line. And there's no doubt our center, Alex Mack, you know, our guards. It'll be an interesting matchup between Brunskill and the guard we just drafted, Banks, a local kid from the Bay Area, and of course with Lincoln Tomlinson. So that I think it's definitely Aaron Donald. Because if we can block him, I think we're good, right? But if we can't, he can definitely disrupt the flow of the offense. And he is closer to the quarterback than Jalen Ramsey. So
exactly. And then real quick, bro.
Yeah.
My fault with Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, he can take away an opposing team's number 1 wideout, but in regards to the Seahawks, we also got Tyler Lockett, Dwayne Eskers, there's other weapons. So he could take away DK, but Tyler's gonna start to make an impact. Yeah,
no, that's an excellent point. Excellent point. So continue on with the comments. Let's see. CG Ruthless has a comment for you. He says, I remember Steezy saying he doesn't want Trey to the Niners. You remember Steezy? Laughing emojis.
Yeah, no, I definitely said that, but I was talking about his future outlook just because I'm scared of what he's going to be in the future. But for right now, I think there's going to be some growing pains. I think that he's still a little bit raw, and I think that's going to take time for him to develop. But, I mean, 2 years from now, maybe even after this season, I'm going to start to be really, really, really scared of what he's going to do. But he's going to be a force of nature to come.
Yeah, I mean, if Trey Lance could have a ceiling of, Russell Wilson, if he could be the next Russell Wilson, I mean, I see many wins, many playoff victories, maybe even many Super Bowls for years to come for the 49ers. So I definitely was surprised when we moved up from pick 12 to pick 3. But I think part of the reason was I think we were in the running for Deshaun Watson, but, he had his troubles off the field. I think that's definitely a reason why the Niners moved up to 3. And unfortunately, Jimmy G, he just can't stay healthy. But there's definitely going to be a quarterback battle this offseason for the 49ers, Jimmy G and Trey. My personal opinion, I think Jimmy G has an advantage. He's actually played in the NFL. He's seen NFL defenses. But I can't wait to see what Trey Lance does in the preseason against actual other defenders, not just 7-on-7, not just throwing the ball. But that's very exciting for me because I don't know about you, Steezy, but I'm usually not excited for preseason football. But this year I actually am. So I can't wait for that.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah. Let's see. Of course, Corey Davis. What's good? He's been on this Matt Stafford train. Do you think Matt Stafford is an upgrade over Jared Goff? Do you think so?
Oh, without a doubt, he's a tremendous upgrade. But on the same token, I think he's a little overrated.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. He's definitely on the best team he's ever played with. I think Jay left a comment. Jay says that the Seahawks' hardest matchup is us, the Niners. Okay, we always play them tough, that's for sure.
I think when healthy, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. CG says, absolutely, bro. I agree with you. Give him a year to learn the playbook. He should have an advantage with playing a similar offense at North Dakota State. Yeah, I feel like we don't need to rush Jim, or you don't need to rush Trey. If Brian Hoyer was our starting quarterback right now, like he was in 2017, then yeah, throw Trey in. I mean, what else you got to lose? But Jimmy G, obviously he's had his injury issues, but when he was healthy, he guided us to the Super Bowl. He didn't put us on his back, but he definitely was. He was part of that third. He was part of that offense that got us to the Super Bowl, and I think that's why the 49ers. He's still on the 49ers roster. So. Let's see. Let's continue on with the comments. Pale Time says Niners have had the Rams number and the Rams have had the Cards and Seahawks for the most part. And Steezy did say that the Rams were the toughest opponent for the Seahawks, and I can't lie about that. Let's see. Just trying to make sure I get all. Oh, Tommy has a question for you. He says, Pete Carroll, do you think he's going to retire soon?
Man. That's a good question, bro. You can never really tell, but he did just sign a 5-year extension last season. I see him playing out the rest of that contract. Yes, he's the oldest coach, or maybe the second oldest coach after Bill Belichick. But look, we all know this. He don't act like it. He don't look like it. And so, he still has a lot of time compared to other, 70-year-old coaches. And I still think that he's going to finish out the duration of his contract.
I agree. Yeah, and I forgot about he just re-signed, a contract extension. I believe Snyder did as well, right?
Both of them did.
Yeah. What's good, Big Low Country Sports? Big Low Country Sports just hit that 1K mark. Salute to you, man. Hopefully I'll be there soon. And Big Low Country Sports is a Atlanta Falcons fan. Keep doing what you're doing, Big Low Country Sports. 49ers Ultimate Report. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. And, I wanted to bring you on, Steezy. I definitely appreciate you coming through. But go ahead and plug your social media. Where can people find you? And let the people know.
Yes, sir. First of all, bro, I just want to say thanks for having me on. Much appreciated, bro. It's truly a pleasure, truly an honor. It's a little overdue, but better late than never. And it's always good, talking to you, bro. Especially, I feel like with this type of stuff. I mean, yeah, you're a Niner fan, but you're one of the coolest Niner fans that I know. And a lot of my homeboys are actually Niner fans, and so you're one of the cool ones for sure. I'd love to do this again. I got to actually put you on my show real soon. That being said, everybody that's been tuned in, thanks to everybody that's been tuned in for real. Calvin Domingo, Steezy A Smith, that's me. Don't forget to follow my boy right here, Jay in the Bag. Subscribe to him, follow him, all social media platforms. Once to do that, then you can find me YouTube, primarily on YouTube at Steezy A Smith, SteezyASmith. And then if you want to keep up to date with not just my content, but content in the sports world, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram at Steezy A Smith, TikTok at Steezy A Smith, and then my Twitter, I'm using it again. I'm starting to use it more and more at Cal Steezy Sports. And if you want to add me on Snap, you can come just hit me up on Instagram, ask me for that. But much appreciated again, bro. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you coming through. And as you said, man, obviously we're different fan bases, but it's cool that we can get together, chop it up, and talk about our love for our teams. And we definitely got to do this again in the future. I would definitely love to come on your show. And also when the season starts, and of course, you have that Niner Seahawk week. I can't wait for that. I'm definitely going to ask you to come on my show, so I can't wait for that. Looks like 49ers Ultimate Report had a question for you. He says, what are his thoughts on Dre Greenlaw, aka the Hawks killer?
He said Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, the Hawks killer, because remember that play? I think was it last year, or probably was the year before, where Dre Greenlaw made that game saving tackle at the goal line, and it allowed the 49ers to have
Yeah, it was Jacob Hollister. He couldn't reach out. Man, if he was just a
yeah
little stronger, bro, he could have muscled his way in. But he's one of the skinnier tight ends in football. So
yeah.
I mean, shoot.
That's funny. Roberto, thanks for tuning into the stream. What's good? He says, who has a better year, Debo or DK? Now I already know Steezy. What is Steezy gonna say?
Oh no, look. Hey, Debo is an absolute monster. He is a beast, bro. I'm scared to go up against Debo just because he always seems to burn the Seahawks secondary. And now that our secondary has all these question marks, man, he's gonna kill our secondary even more. He's gonna continue to do that, and so I'm very, very scared of the receiver that he's gonna become. And I'm scared of the matchup against the Seahawks secondary. But let's be real now, bro. There's levels to this. DK Metcalf is on another level, and I think that he's more talented. He's more athletic. He's faster. He's more of a beast. I mean, he has a higher vertical leap. He's more athletic. I could go on. Debo might be the better pure wide receiver, but I think that in terms of talent, DK has that over him, and he showed that through his first couple of years in the league. It's gonna be close, but I'm gonna go DK.
Yeah, there's no doubt. DK is a better receiver, and unfortunately, Debo, you better tuck your chain. Debo coming around. He had a sophomore slump last year. He had an excellent rookie year, but he definitely had a sophomore slump last year. He had that broken foot, I believe, a month or two before training camp started, and it definitely set him back. Couldn't get into shape. So last year was a lost year, and Debo, expectations are high for you, Debo. So I'm definitely looking forward to Debo, the Ayuk show, Brandon Ayuk, and of course the best tight end in the NFL. George Kittle. Looks like we have a question for you by Harden54. They say, how did you choose your name, Steezy?
All right. So actually, man, rest in peace to my bro, but he actually passed away a couple of months ago.
Thanks.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Thank you. He actually gave me the nickname in high school. He gave me the nickname Cal Steezy. And so, around town, everywhere, people started calling me Cal Steezy. And some people thought Cal Steezy was a little long. And so some people started calling me Steezy. And obviously, with A. Smith, you guys know what Stephen A. Smith is. He's one of my favorite sports journalists out there, and he has the throne right now. He's the king of sports journalism. He has the throne, and for me, I'm gonna just let everybody know I'm coming for that throne. I'm coming for that top dog spot. And so Stephen A. Smith, he got to watch that too, because I'm gonna be coming. I'm gonna take that right away from him. But that's kind of how I got my name. I put Stephen A. Smith, his last two, or A. Smith. I put that on top of Steezy, put it together, and then Steezy A. Smith was born.
Yeah, no, definitely sorry about your loss, man. That was information I did not know. And as Harden54 says, rest in peace to your treasured fan. And then Monica says, sorry, man, may he rest in peace. So, and also Tommy. Yeah, so I definitely did not know that. But yeah, definitely sorry for your loss. And there's no doubt Stephen A. Smith, he's ever since I can remember, since I've been young, it was like, especially you look up to the people of color, you look up to them. Like there was Stephen A., Mike Wilbon, of course, Stuart Scott. So those have always been the guys that I definitely have looked up to and enjoy watching, especially on Sports Center. So there's no doubt. So yeah, I can't wait to see you continue to rise, Steezy. And as Osby Sports says, great live, bro. And if you had any other questions for Steezy, let me know. I'm not sure if you had a lot of time on your hands, but we already been on for an hour.
Hey, it's all good, bro. If y'all got questions, go ahead, lay it on me.
Okay. So let's see. Corey says, how does Stevie feel about the Ayuk show? Brandon Ayuk.
See, bro, this is why I was super happy y'all didn't get Julio, because I'm already scared of the guys that you guys already have on the roster. Like I just said, Deebo Samuel is a beast. Brandon Ayuk is another beast. He's a guy that I'm going to be targeting in my fantasy football drafts this year. And so I think that you guys have a very potent 1-2 punch at wide receiver, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, not to mention a top two. That's what I said, at top two, tight end in all of football, and George Kittle. Obviously, Trey Lance ends up becoming what I think he's going to become. man, you guys are going to be a threat, not just defensively, but offensively moving forward. And so Brandon Ayuk, man, I have a lot of expectations for him. I expect a 1,000-yard season, and I expect him and Deebo Samuel to emerge as a top 10 wide receiver duo in all of football by the end of the season.
Yeah, I like our 1-2 punch, or I guess you could say our 1-2-3 punch. It just depends on health. And obviously, we're definitely going to have a camp battle with that number 3 wide receiver position on our team. And I'm definitely I can't wait to see how that plays out through training camp. Looks like Jose says porn star Jimmy. I love when Stephen Naismith said that. Oh, we got a great question. Now, another great Seattle Seahawk. He's been on hard times lately. Earl Thomas. I mean, we had a question. I had a question here from one of the subscribers. I think I did. Okay, let's see. From 49er Faithful, he says, Steezy, do you want Earl Thomas back?
Man, of course I want him back, but right now at this point in time, I'm gonna have to say no, just because I don't see Earl Thomas settling for a backup role. If he was to sign with Seattle now, what would he be? A backup. He'd be a backup to Pro Bowl safety Quandre Diggs, and he'd be a backup to superstar safety Jamal Adams. And there just isn't much, I feel like, playing time for him in Seattle. And I think that the wounds between him and the Seahawks organization, they just haven't fully healed yet. And I don't know if Pete Carroll is cool with Earl Thomas yet, just because, as we all know, Earl Thomas flicked off, Coach Carroll and some of the other Seahawks front office members as he was, being carted off the field. So I just don't know if there's been enough time for those wounds to heal.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt Earl Thomas, he was, part of that Legion of Boom, one of the great Seahawks the last decade. But yeah, he's had a precipitous fall ever since he signed with the Baltimore Ravens, and then he got cut. And I'm surprised he hasn't made it on another team. But he is 32, so that could be a reason why. And looks like you have made an excellent looks like Steezy, you have made an excellent impression on the faithful, on the Niner Empire, because Jay says the Niner Empire might come to your stream. So looks like you showed up, you showing out. That's for sure, man. And looks like Tommy has a question for you. He says, how long have you been a Seahawks fan? Please don't say before 2014.
Hey, man, believe it or not, bro, I've been a fan since, I like to say, 2005, because I remember being a little kid watching that Super Bowl against the Steelers, and that was really my first time watching Seahawks football. And obviously, living in Seattle, being a kid, I was gonna root for the hometown team. And so ever since then, I've been a Seahawks fan. I didn't really start, I feel like, watching Seahawks games like on a consistent basis until I think about 2010, 2011. It was when we had Matt Hasselbeck in his last year as a quarterback. Beast Mode came in, the Beast Quake. I think it might have been that year. And then I watched the Tavares Jackson, year. That was, I think, 2011. So it was really 2010, but 2005 was when I became a fan. Okay.
And Monica says, I'm in awe of this class act Seahawks fan. That's right. Yep. CG says he's more excited for the number 3 spot. I think you're referring to the 49ers wide receiver. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a battle for that number 3 spot. Payout Time has a great question. He says, what young player that is unknown are you excited about for the Seahawks this coming season, and who is putting the league on notice?
Ooh. I really like K. Johnson, bro. He was an undrafted free agent from South Dakota State, and I think that with him coming over, I made a video a couple weeks ago about why he could be a Doug Baldwin clone, maybe even a Tyler Lockett clone.
Looks like Steezy's camera might have just went out. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Where did I leave off? My fault.
You were talking about the undrafted, I think, wide receiver out of South Dakota State.
Yeah, okay, K. Johnson. All right, look.
Yeah.
So Seattle starts a need, right? I know Seattle brought in Dwayne Eskridge, and he's going to be the more hyped prospect, but I really like K. Johnson. He's a smooth route runner. He reminds me a lot of Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett. He's not the fastest. He's not the most athletic, but he also contributes in special teams, and I think that he's going to have a really solid role. I think that he's going to be an automatic he's automatic really to make the team. And so I have no doubt in my mind, even despite being an undrafted free agent, I'm really excited about his potential, what he's going to bring to the table. Russ Wilson has long needed a shifty slot receiver. And so that's exactly what he is. So K. Johnson's going to be my pick, but amongst others.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Seahawks offense is definitely going to be a problem to all the teams on their schedule this year. CG Ruthless says, "Who is your favorite Seahawks player of all time, Steezy?"
Ooh, that's tough, bro. Russ definitely up there. DK definitely up there. Bobby definitely up there. Sherm definitely up there. Doug Baldwin definitely up there. But I gotta go with it's a tie between Beast Mode and Cam Chancellor. Just because, man, I miss those guys playing for the Hawks, bro. Especially Cam Chancellor. I mean, his career was cut short. I remember dropping a video a couple months ago about Cam Chancellor coming back to Seattle as an assistant coach, and everybody wanted to see it. Everyone's clamoring for it. A lot of people are asking for it, but I don't think Cam's just interested in doing that right now. But Cam, man, I remember watching him, bro, and he really laid the wood down. And not only that, he was just a straight dog, a leader. He was the Boom in the Legion of Boom. Just one of my favorite players, and obviously Beast Mode. We all know what he did. I mean, he was just a beast, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And so, man, those are my favorite Seahawks players of all time: Beast Mode and Bam Bam.
Yeah, it's no doubt. Beast Mode. From the town, from Oakland. Went to Oakland Tech, then graduated from Cal. Like, there's no doubt he was drafted by the Bills. Didn't really work out, and it seemed like it was a match made in heaven. Him going to the Seahawks. He definitely had the best years of his career with Seattle, and then. I mean, what can you say about Cam Chancellor? I mean, Vernon Davis, he ain't the same, man. Ever since Vernon Davis got that hit, he wasn't the same after that, man. Cam Chancellor definitely was one of the most feared safeties in the NFL when he played. It sucks he had that neck injury, that basically was a career-ending injury. But it's good to hear that he's back with the organization, in a coaching role. And Payo Time says, whatever happened to Matt Flynn?
Hey, bro, I think the fact that nobody knows, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I remember that offseason. You guys signed Matt Flynn, and then Russell Wilson beat him out in camp. I think everyone was kind of surprised, but obviously that was an excellent decision. So,
bro, when we signed Matt Flynn, I was just like, bro, are you serious? I did not want to see him start. I'm not even lying to you, bro. I didn't want to see him start.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And one of the Seahawks I remember most in my earlier days was Shaun Alexander. Like, he was one of the best running backs in the NFL, Shaun Alexander. And the 49ers Ultimate Report, what's good? He says, what do you think about Shaun Alexander?
Hey, bro, I mean, he's one of the best running backs in Seahawks history. I mean, I don't know if he's the best just because of beast mode. And then as far as the NFL, he's definitely one of the better running backs that have played in the last decade or two. He was an absolute beast, but he definitely had one of the best offensive lines too when he was playing, so that definitely helped. But he was a great player. He ended up being injury prone later on in his career, but he was a great player. I mean, he's one of the few running backs to ever win an MVP award. Before LaDainian Tomlinson broke it, he had the previous record for most scrimmage touchdowns in the season. So he was a real.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Shaun Alexander, I believe Shaun Alexander, he played behind Walter Jones at left tackle. And I think Walter Jones, is a Hall of Fame left tackle. So, there's no doubt that Shaun Alexander was one of the better running backs in Seahawks history. Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you though.
My fault, bro. I keep getting these calls on my phone, bro, to messing it up. I might have to leave and then come back if you want to be able to see me.
No worries. Yeah. No worries. No problem. Okay.
Let me hop back in.
Okay. Yeah, that's like Steezy's having a little issue with his cam. But Jay says the 49ers player, that swag was Ricky Walters. Yeah, there's no doubt Ricky Walters had that swag. I don't know why he went and played for the Seahawks, but there's no doubt Ricky Walters, he was definitely one of the better running backs on the Niners. CG Ruthless says, God, I hated Chancellor for that. In all seriousness, he was a great player in Seattle. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's no doubt Chancellor laid the boom whenever he was on the field. And yeah, there's definitely no doubt about that. CG says Shaun Alexander was a Madden curse. He was great, but he wasn't the same since the cover. Yeah, I mean, he had some great seasons with the Seahawks. He was the offense back when Shaun Alexander was playing, like back in the 2000s. But yeah, after he had those great seasons in Seattle, he just wasn't the same back. Let's see. The Sports Star. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Yeah, 49ers Ultimate Report. Yeah, Steezy is a great guy. I'll definitely forward you his information. Looks like he's back on right now. What's good? All right, man. 49ers Ultimate Report. He says he's going to reach out to you. He definitely wants to get you on his show. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'll definitely forward you his information. And
definitely.
Let's see. Corey Davis has a question. He says, who is better? Prime time. Deion Sanders or Richard Sherman?
And I don't even want to sound disrespectful, but there's levels to this, bro. Prime time is the best cornerback in all of NFL history.
Right.
That's enough said.
Right, exactly. Monica says we need a live from you two during one of the 49ers Seahawks games this season. Absolutely.
Easy.
We definitely got to get that. We'll definitely do that for sure. Let's see. Golden Grizz, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Let's see. Dave Moss says Ricky Water will always be a 49er. No, I totally agree. I definitely agree with that. And as the rest of the comments come in, let's see. Monica says, Steezy, you and Jay should do a live during one of the 49ers Seahawks games this year, even if it's a halftime show. Yeah, we'll definitely have to collab during the year. When the Seahawks and Niners play, that's definitely going to be a great week. And Steezy A. Smith says, just message me at Steezy A. Smith on all socials to reach me. So hopefully you see that comment at 49ers Ultimate Report, John J. And Pale Time says, has Steezy ever collaborated with Seahawks YouTube? Squabo says.
Man, like I just said, bro, that's my brother. We started around the same time. And, we used to do a lot of things together. He's over there in Pullman right now at Wazoo, but that's my brother for life right there, bro.
Cool. All right. And then Roberto says he's going to give you a follow. You're a cool dude. So you're definitely making an excellent impression. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming through. Let's see Deion Sanders for you. Jay says Deion Sanders to the 49ers. We were so lucky we got Deion. We were. I wish we would have kept Deion for more years. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. Pale Time says Squabo is awesome. Yeah, I check out Squabo as well. And here's Steezy's email. Reach out to him, of course. And I appreciate you coming through. We definitely got to do it again. And you have any final thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks season this year? Let the people know.
Hey, y'all, I'm going to let you guys know right now. It's going to be the Seahawks and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Mic drop.
All right, we'll see what happens. I appreciate you coming through. We definitely got to do this again. And also, everyone, I appreciate you liking, subscribing to, of course, Jay and the Bay on YouTube, IG, and Twitter. I also have Steezy A. Smith's social media below. Make sure you check him out. Subscribe. Give that man a follow. He's doing an excellent job. And also, everyone watching on the Spotlight Sports Network, I appreciate you coming through. And, of course, everyone tuning in to your boy, Jay in the Bay. And it's been a pleasure. I'll see you later, Steezy. See everyone else in the chat. We got to do this again.
Hey,
all right. See you later, man.
Thank you. Much love.
All right. Appreciate you. That was an excellent stream. Faithful Niner Empire. Yes, Steezy A. Smith, he's a cool dude. Like he said, this is long overdue. I wish me and Steezy could have done this much sooner, but timing is everything. And I can't wait to collab with him in the future. And he's excellent at what he does. And the man is definitely going places, that's for sure. And I appreciate everyone leaving your thoughts in the comment section. And I appreciate everyone rocking with me. Let me know if you guys had any other comments, questions. And just so you guys know, June 30th, the 49ers State of the Franchise. Make sure you guys check that out. You do have to download the 49ers app. I believe it's June 30th, 6 p.m. Pacific time, the State of the 49ers. Make sure you guys check that out. Payo Time says, great stream, Jay. Thanks for putting this together. Absolutely, man. This is one of a few streams I want to put together where I bring in a Seattle Seahawks fan and they talk about their season. I want to do this. I want to do this with a Rams fan and Payo Time. I definitely have you in mind. I also want to do this with the Arizona Cardinals fan. So that's definitely in the works. Definitely going to be doing that probably within the next, I would say probably in July. Most likely in July, I'll be doing, a stream with the Rams fan, Cardinals fan. Jay, I appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate you. And CG says, I enjoy him on the NFC West Roundtable. Yeah, he's excellent, very knowledgeable, very passionate, and you can see it in the stream. And I appreciate him for coming through. 49er Faithful says, see you in the next stream. Absolutely. Looks like Pale Time says, helped me with my Friday night content grind. All right. Let's see. Tommy says, I don't see the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Playoffs. Well, we'll see, Tommy. We'll see whoever gets hot, in the playoffs. We'll see. Monica says, when his team, the Seahawks, don't make the Super Bowl, just sing to him, when it rains, it pours. Yeah, maybe that'll make him feel a little bit better. And definitely Pale Time. I'm definitely going to reach out to you. And we just gotta be able to make the dates match and all that good stuff. Because next week is definitely going to be, June 30th, 49ers State of the Franchise. That's a huge week, huge day. And I'm definitely going to stream probably the following day. But yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you. And yeah, CG, I did reach out to the AZ Sports fan. He's definitely is a cool Cardinals YouTuber. So yeah, that's definitely in the works. So for the next month, I'll definitely be streaming about the 49ers State of the Franchise. Also be streaming with the LA Rams YouTuber, Cardinals YouTuber. And also I'll do another top 5. So I believe last time we did top 5 players that need to have a bounce back year or something like that. I think we did that last week. And next time I'll do another top 5, probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So make sure I appreciate you guys liking the content, subscribing. And I will definitely see you guys. I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. And let's see, there might be a few more comments. Let's see. Monica says, hit take. They announced Warner's extension June 30th. That'd be nice, right? That'd be super dope if they mentioned Fred Warner's contract extension. That'd be nice. That'd be really nice. But hope everyone have an excellent Friday. And this is the start of the weekend, faithful. Hopefully you guys have an excellent weekend. Stay safe. It's going to be a pretty warm weekend where I'm at. Take it easy. Pay your time. I appreciate everyone in the comments section. I appreciate everyone conversing with me and also, showing Steezy some love. So I definitely appreciate that. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Jay in the Bay is out. See y'all in the next one, man. Thanks for tuning in to your boy, Jay in the Bay. See you guys in the next one.